Video as you guys come in. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Media 21, where we talk hot topics, trending topics, what's going on in the news, in the world. May not do, yeah. We'll get this first, and I may get to some hot topics after this. That way it'll cover for what's going on and what's kind of generally happened for the week. But we've done a lot of updates for what's going on for the week. So give me a few seconds to do my disclaimer. And then that way we can get straight into what's going on. Spoke out. Hillary Clinton spoke out. Sometimes I get pretty decent numbers on Saturday. We'll see what happens, but just give me a few seconds to do my disclaimer. But definitely come on in and like and subscribe to the page. It helps a great deal when you like and subscribe to the page. It helps immensely when you hit the like button. It helps immensely to the page when you subscribe because we're trying 50K. I wish we would already be at 100K because I get millions of views sometimes, half a million views sometimes per month, millions of views sometimes for the whole month. So, please. Oh no, I got to do my disclaimer first. Oh, just give me a few seconds to do my disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged in our opinion and for entertainment purposes only. I'm going to play this while I do everything else.
And I know what I did, and more importantly, what I didn't do. I saw nothing and I did nothing wrong.
I'm going to play it from the beginning.
First, I had no idea of the crimes Epstein was committing. No matter how many photos they showed me, I have two things that at the end of the day matter far more than any interpretation of 20-year-old photos. I know what I saw, and more importantly, what I didn't see. And I know what I did, and more importantly, what I didn't do. I saw nothing and I did nothing wrong. As someone who grew up in a home with domestic violence, not only would I not have flown on his plane if I had any inkling of what he was doing, I would have turned him in myself and led the call for justice for his crimes, not the sweetheart deal we got. First, I had no idea of the crimes Epstein was committing. No matter how many photos they showed me, I have two things that at the end of the day matter far more than any interpretation of 20-year-old photos. I know what I saw, and more importantly, what I didn't see. And I know what I did, and more importantly, what I didn't do. I saw nothing and I did nothing wrong. As someone who grew up in a home with domestic violence, not only would I not have flown on his plane if I had any inkling of what he was doing, I would have turned him in myself and led the call for justice for his crimes.
Good morning.
Not the sweetheart deal we got. First, I had no idea of the crimes Epstein was committing. No matter how many photos they showed me, I have two things that at the end of the day matter far more than any interpretation of 20-year-old photos. I know what I saw, and more importantly, what I didn't see. And I know what I did, and more importantly, what I didn't do. I saw nothing and I did nothing wrong. As someone who grew up in a home with domestic violence, not only would I not have flown on his plane if I had any inkling of what he was doing, I would have turned him in myself and led the call for justice for his crimes, not the sweetheart deal we got. First, I had no idea.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to try to be calm, considerate, and respectful. You know the saying, birds of a feather flock together. There's no way these guys did not know what this guy into. He was a businessman as well. We get that. But the biggest thing is, why did it take so long for the files to be released, people to be talked about? We saw the pictures. We saw the pictures. We're seeing videos. If you went to the home, we saw the mask on the wall. What does that mean? What do you need several masks on the wall for? So what was happening is they were covering some of these people's faces. So some of these people probably didn't even know who was underneath the mask, and that's the concern. If you're dealing with someone, you're fooling with someone, you know what they're into. They can't make us think that there wasn't talks about what this guy was into, what he was doing, how he was hooking people up. This was when men were trying to cheat on their girlfriend, cheat on their wife, cheat on their spouses. They were cheating. This is what he gave them, and out. But how quick people forget what transpired in regards to him and Lewinsky. Wait a minute, I can't think of her name. What was her name in regards to her keeping the dress? Maybe it's not Lewinsky. Maybe it's somebody else. I don't want to give the wrong name. I want to give the wrong name. Maybe okay, so it was Monica. So we realized what you did with Monica. Hello, Monica. How quick we forget you cheated on your wife. Hello. How are we not gonna think you didn't cheat? But I wasn't there. So I'm gonna try and be calm this morning. I'm gonna try and be calm this morning. I'm gonna try and be calm, cool, and collective. What is going on in politics is BS. This country is being laughed at. These people are weirdos. What's going on in the music industry is concerning. What's going on with actors and actresses is concerning. There's some sickos out there. And guess what? A lot of these people are finally being exposed for who they are. Sickos. Now, I wasn't there. I can't confirm or deny if he knew anything, if he saw anything. But the interesting thing is, many people talked about what this guy was doing, and they were still affiliating themselves with him after he got his sweetheart deal. So it is what it is. Let's play some clips. It's concerning. A lot of these people are going to say, I saw nothing, I seen nothing, I didn't do anything wrong. And the biggest thing is, why weren't a lot of these people locked up when he got locked up? Him and Maxwell. So him and Maxwell just doing things by themselves, just him and Maxwell? No, there was things that was going on. Go back 2 weeks. Look at what we talked about in regards to the missing girls and cabinets being sold. What? So what happened with that? Go back and look at my short. We talked about missing girls and cabinets being sold with those same girls that were missing. So say for instance, I'll just use colors. White and white cabinet went missing in her area. And then there will be a white and white cabinet sold. Say for instance, there was a cabinet brown and brown. Using this for an example for people to understand. Brown and brown cabinet was missing. That brown and brown cabinet would be available for people to bid on that cabinet. This guy was into some sick stuff. You'd think his friends didn't know, understand. And he had a feeling about brown and brown people. I heard about that too. So it was that name. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I wasn't wrong. Okay, so let's go ahead and play the video. If you want me to see your comment, please send in a super chat. It will highlight it. If you want me to see your comment, please send in a super chat. $2, $5, $10 super chats are welcome. Let's continue. Okay, fair use reaction clip. So concerning.
Bill Clinton, both Republicans and Democrats, calling this a historic. Former President Bill Clinton testifying before a congressional committee about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Just like Hillary Clinton's deposition yesterday, it is happening right near their home in Chappaqua, New York, outside of New York City at the Performing Arts Center, interestingly. So the former president shows up over and over again in the Epstein files, but he says that their, quote, brief acquaintance ended years before Epstein's crimes became public, telling the committee in his opening statement, I had no idea of the crimes Epstein was committing. No matter how many photos you show me, I know what I saw, and more importantly, what I didn't see. I know what I did, and more importantly, what I didn't do. I saw nothing, and I did nothing wrong, says former President Bill Clinton. House Oversight Chairman James Comer says that the committee is not accusing the Clintons of wrongdoing, but it was a long battle to get to this moment. Watch.
When I started my record label, the business side of things, taxes, finances, definitely felt like adulting. But just because you start your own thing doesn't mean you have to figure it out on your own. It's been amazing to have a TurboTax expert to bounce ideas off of. Even if I'm in the studio alone at night.
Like the video, like the video.
Watch.
It took 7 months to get the Clintons in here. But we've got them in here, and we look forward to asking lots of questions that I think any curious media outlet in America would have. Yesterday, Ms. Clinton deferred a lot of questions to her husband today.
Republicans have now set a new precedent, which is to bring in presidents and former presidents to testify. So we're once again going to make that call that we did yesterday. We are now asking and demanding that President Trump officially come in and testify in front of the Oversight Committee.
Good.
So Chief Congressional Correspondent Chad Pergram reporting live from Chappaqua, outside where all of this is happening. Hi, Chad.
Martha, good afternoon. Never before has a president undergone questioning at a deposition by a congressional committee under a subpoena. Now, that changed this morning. Bill Clinton knew and traveled with Jeffrey Epstein. There is no allegation of wrongdoing by Bill Clinton, but Democrats say this is all a distraction from dealing with President Trump.
But let's be real, we're talking to the wrong president today. President Trump is the one who has not released 2.5 million files. President Trump is the one who is blocking our investigation. President Trump is the one who wants this to go away, but it will not go away.
They're not going to go away.
Here is Bill Clinton's statement to the committee this morning, even with 2020 hindsight.
Good morning, everyone. There's 108 in the building. Please hit subscribe. Please continue to hit the like button. Let's get the likes to 100. Double tap the screen, hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video. Let's continue. I will play this because people are just now coming in. I will play what Bill said. Hold on.
Idea of the crimes Epstein was committed. No matter how many photos they showed me, I have two things that at the end of the day matter far more than any interpretation of 20-year-old photos. I know what I saw, and more importantly, what I didn't see. And I know what I did, and more importantly, what I didn't do. I saw nothing and I did nothing wrong. As someone who grew up in a home with domestic violence, not only would I not have flown on his plane if I had any inkling of what he was doing, I would have turned him in myself and led the call for justice for his crimes, not the sweetheart deal we got. First, I had no idea of the crimes Epstein was committed. No matter how many photos they showed me, I have two things that at the end of the day matter far more than any interpretation of 20-year-old photos. I know what I saw, and more importantly, what I didn't see. And I know what I did, and more importantly, what I didn't do. I saw nothing and I did nothing wrong. As someone who grew up in a home with domestic violence, not only would I not have flown on his plane if I had any inkling of what he was doing, I would have turned him in myself and led the call for justice for his crimes, not the sweetheart deal we got. First, I had no idea of the crimes Epstein was committed.
Tax Act.
No matter how many photos they
Y'all
showed
let me know in the
I
comments
have two things that at the end of
y'all-
the day matter far.
if y'all believe him. Everybody's going to cry, saw nothing, seen nothing. We can't confirm or deny. But you know, the one thing I will say, told you my page is a little different. If you're friends with someone, you know their business dealings. If you're friends with somebody, if that's your boy, you hanging on the flight, guys talk. Guys talk about what they're doing. Men and women talk, what they're doing, what they're into, what type of things they like. People talk. What you did the night before, what you did the day before. So if he ever went to his house, because I can't confirm or deny what Bill knows. I wasn't there. Told you. All comments are less. Just giving my opinion. But did you ever go into his house? Did you ever see the mask? Did you ever ask, man, why you got mask on your wall? What is that for? Hey, dude, what is it with the mask on the wall? Why do you have a dental chair in your house? What is that for? And then the girlfriend went to dental school. So if the young children were having concerns, ooh wee, now that you think about it, how let me ask y'all a question. How do you identify people? How do you identify people? How do you identify people in certain ways? DNA, teeth, right? DNA and teeth. So why would you hire a dental person? Also, Value Entertainment. He talked about the chemical. I don't know the name of the chemical. It's being reported that Jeffrey Epstein ordered a certain chemical. He ordered a certain chemical and he put that in his tub. And that chemical can do breakdown of stuff. I'll be general. Go to Value Entertainment. They are talking about Jeffrey Epstein ordering a certain chemical and it can break down things. So concerning. Epstein, so concerning. Bill, so concerning. Hillary says she don't know nothing. She don't know the man. She never met the man. Let's continue. Yes, I think I can't confirm or deny, but he was sick. That man was sick. Okay, so let's go back to the video. That man was sick. That man was sick. What was he trying to get rid of? Let's continue.
When asked tough questions.
Good morning, everyone. To support the channel, please hit the subscribe button. We're trying to hit 50K. To hit the subscribe button is free. Let's get the likes up, everyone, so we can continue. The likes should be over. Please double tap the screen to get the likes up. And good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Let's get the likes up so we can continue. The likes should be over 100. All you got to do is double tap the screen to get the likes up. Let's get the likes over 100. It lets people know we're live and it's free to hit the like. Yep, it's free. Let's get the likes up. Let's continue. Thanks for being here.
What do you mean that Hillary Clinton was screaming?
She was unhinged, and I hope that President Clinton is less unhinged today than his wife was yesterday. You'll see it.
Wow.
Now the public can judge for itself when the video and transcript comes out, perhaps over the weekend. The deposition will probably go until this evening. Back to you.
Okay, Chad, thank you very much. A few moments ago there in Chappaqua. Now the Democrats are speaking. Let's dip in here and listen. Trump.
But it is very well established that President Clinton had a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, and we are treating this investigation extraordinarily seriously. And when you see the recorded deposition, you will see that we asked all of the hard questions, centering the survivors, making sure that we get to the bottom of where there are discrepancies in the record, and understanding how not only the crimes that Jeffrey Epstein committed could go on, but why there was a culture that surrounded him wherein the rich and powerful turned a blind eye.
People are just now coming in. I'm going to start it over because they're not going to stop.
Both Republicans and Democrats calling this a historic day. Former President Bill Clinton testifying before a congressional committee about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Just like Hillary Clinton's deposition yesterday, it is happening right near their home in Chappaqua, New York, outside of New York City at the Performing Arts Center. Interestingly, so the former president shows up over and over again in the Epstein files, but he says that their, quote, brief acquaintance ended years before Epstein's crimes became public, telling the committee in his opening statement, I had no idea of the crimes Epstein was committing. No matter how many photos you show me, I know what I saw, and more importantly, what I didn't see. I know what I did, and more importantly, what I didn't do. I saw nothing, and I did nothing wrong, says former President Bill Clinton. House Oversight Chairman James Comer says that the committee is not accusing the Clintons of wrongdoing, but it was a long battle to get to this moment. Watch.
Bring excitement to your drive in a 2025 Kia K4 from Kia of Grand Blanc. Lease yours today at just $156 a month. The K4 turns heads with its unmistakable attitude and available turbocharged performance. Click now to view our inventory.
I always felt like I was different from my family, but when I discovered who my great-grandfather really was, everything started to make sense.
There is a platform where you can search billions of historical records, uncovering hidden stories of your ancestors.
You start by entering a name, and the platform scans newspapers, birth notices, military documents, obituaries, everything. I found this newspaper from 1898, reporting on a daring rescue my great-grandmother.
Watch.
It took 7 months to get the Clintons in here, but we've got them in here, and we look forward to asking lots of questions that I think any curious media outlet in America would have. Yesterday, Ms. Clinton deferred a lot of questions to her husband today.
Republicans have now set a new precedent, which is to bring in presidents and former presidents to testify. So we're once again going to make that call that we did yesterday. We are now asking and demanding that President Trump officially come in and testify in front of the Oversight Committee.
So Chief Congressional Correspondent Chad Pergram reporting live from Chappaqua, outside where all of this is happening. Hi, Chad.
Martha, good afternoon. Never before has a president undergone questioning at a deposition by a congressional committee under a subpoena. That changed this morning. Bill Clinton knew and traveled with Jeffrey Epstein. There is no allegation of wrongdoing by Clinton, but Democrats say this is all a distraction from dealing with President Trump.
But let's be real, we're talking to the wrong president today. President Trump is the one who has not released 2.5 million files. President Trump is the one who is blocking our investigation. President Trump is the one who wants this to go away, but it will not go away.
Now, here is Bill Clinton's statement to the committee this morning. Even with 2020 hindsight, I saw nothing that ever gave me pause. We are only here because he hid it from everyone so well for so long. And by the time it came to light with his 2008 guilty plea, I had long stopped associating with him. Now, we're also learning about Hillary Clinton's testimony yesterday. Florida Republican Anna Paulina Luna suggested there may have been an effort by a U.S. ally to target the Clintons. She said Epstein was running a, quote, honeypot operation.
I don't know that Secretary Clinton was all that honest about the context of this investigation. We asked extensively about intelligence ties, whether or not she felt that she was targeted as a result of possibly an intelligence gathering operation. And she was very curiously interested in that.
Also, one Republican said Hillary Clinton lost her cool and was combative with the committee when asked tough questions. Ms. Mace, what do you mean that Hillary Clinton was screaming?
She was unhinged, and I hope that President Clinton is less unhinged today than his wife was yesterday. You'll see it.
Wow.
Now the public can judge for itself when the video and transcript comes out, perhaps over the weekend. The deposition will probably go until this evening. Back to you.
Okay, Chad, thank you very much. A few moments ago there in Chappaqua. Now the Democrats are speaking. Let's dip in here and listen.
Trump. But it is very well established that President Clinton had a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, and we are treating this investigation extraordinarily seriously. And when you see that we get to the bottom of where there are discrepancies in the record and understanding how not only the crimes that Jeffrey Epstein committed could go on, why there was a culture that surrounded him wherein the rich and powerful turned a blind eye. And with that, I turn it back to our ranking member.
So many different videos, so many different emails. And if there's an attachment for that, I'm wondering if that's enough evidence. I don't know. Can y'all let me know? Is there interesting photos with him and Epstein and people? Is it email messages? Because there's so many different people named. I can't keep up. Let me know in the comments of what y'all saw regarding Bill. Pictures, video, emails. What's the attachment for Bill? Because many people are calling Bill and the man in the office out and other people out.
Hello, everybody. Congressman Maxwell Frost. First off, I just thank you to President Clinton for coming here today to speak with us.
Yeah, I know he's in the files. In what form is he in the files? I'm hoping they'll tell us.
Answering these questions has been helpful for us as we will continue this investigation. Donald Trump, as we know, needs to come before this committee. He's been caught in multiple lies as it relates to his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. I can tell you I've seen unredacted files myself that directly refute his assertion of Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago and the reasoning why he did that. Also, walking out of this, I can tell you we all now have a lot of new questions that we have to raise as it relates to the reasoning on why Donald Trump had a falling out with Jeffrey Epstein in the first place. Another thing is that I saw about an hour ago, Donald Trump at a press conference said that Howard Lutnick is, quote, a very innocent guy. Donald Trump has asserted many times that he knew nothing of Epstein's crimes. If he doesn't know anything about Epstein's crimes, how can he know for sure that Howard Lutnick is, quote, a very innocent guy? We have questions for him. And I think what today is showing and what yesterday is showing is, of course, no one's above the law. That includes the President of the United States. And my hope is that our Republican colleagues, as we walk out of here today and go back to D.C., will join us in making sure that we can hear from Howard Lutnick, from Pam Bondi, and from President Trump.
Oh, wow.
Good afternoon, Congresswoman Yasmin Ansari, representing Arizona.
Good morning, everyone. There's 167 in the building. It was just 200. Please hit the subscribe button, you guys. People need to subscribe. I'm not seeing the numbers go up. I need to see the numbers go up. Please, also, double tap the screen to get the likes up. If you're watching from a phone or a tablet, all you have to do is double tap the screen. If you're having a hard time seeing the like button, the thumbs up button, there's an X button. It won't X you out of the video. It'll allow you to backtrack to see the thumbs up button. So sometimes it's tricky for people to see the thumbs up button. I don't know why YouTube did it that way, but hit the like button, hit the subscribe, you guys. I'll see the subscribers go up. Thanks for being here. It's a Saturday morning. I got a lot to do, and I had to bring y'all this live.
Arizona's 3rd District. I think today was a historic day for transparency in the United States of America. The fact that we have the former President of the United States, Bill Clinton, under oath, speaking to the Oversight Committee and answering questions in a transparent manner is critical. I look forward to the Republican majority listening to our demands of having the transcripts and the videos unedited of both depositions, today's and yesterday's, released immediately, because the American public deserves to hear and see these answers for themselves. And ultimately, this demonstrates that nobody is above the law. And my top concern at this moment is the ongoing White House cover-up. It is deeply concerning that we are seeing a very coordinated machine from the President of the United States continuously repeating that he has been exonerated. He just repeated that today to members of the Republican Party on the Oversight Committee, repeating that lie as well. There are very credible allegations that have been looked into and investigated by the FBI that the Department of Justice is illegally withholding. Please do not stop asking about this. Why is the DOJ continuing to defy the Epstein Files Transparency Act by refusing to release the full Epstein files, by illegally withholding information, by deleting photos and videos of people like Howard Lutnick? This is unacceptable. Donald Trump must be deposed immediately in front of this committee, as do many senior level officials from this administration.
Congressman Suhas Subramaniam from Virginia. If there was any doubt before today that Oversight Democrats are treating this investigation in a nonpartisan way, it'll be put to rest when the transcripts come out. We've been asking the former president.
Okay, you've been listening to the Democrats speak there. I'm at the Clinton deposition live out of Chappaqua, New York. This following James Comer speaking a short time ago as well.
I've seen him deposed, but, you know, they certainly went after me a lot more than that. I don't know anything about the Epstein files, you know. I've been fully exonerated. Yep.
Yeah, that was President Trump sounding off as former President Bill Clinton sits for his closed-door deposition about convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. It's happening right now in Chappaqua, New York. The House Oversight Committee wants to get to the bottom of Bubba's dealings with the notorious pedophile. And those creepy pictures we've all seen of him in a hot tub lounging with Ghislaine Maxwell. President Clinton has acknowledged flying on Jeffrey Epstein's private plane, but he maintains he did not know anything about Epstein's criminal activities. In a statement today, Clinton went even further, saying, quote, as someone who grew up in a home with domestic abuse, not only would I not have flown on his plane if I had any inkling of what he was doing, I would have turned him in myself. Yesterday, the committee interviewed his wife for over 6 hours. Republicans say there was at least a dozen
6
times
hours
when she deferred to their questions to her husband. And according to Nancy Mace, Hillary was, quote, unhinged. But the former Secretary of State says there is nothing to see here.
As a small business owner,
like the video, fair use reaction clip. There's about 170 in the building. Please hit subscribe, you guys. You may think somebody already hit subscribe. Please hit subscribe. I need to see the numbers go up. It's a Saturday morning. I'm on here trying to give, commentary and information. Please hit subscribe. We're trying to hit 50K. There's 171 in the building. Please hit subscribe. It takes 2 seconds. To hit subscribe is free. To hit the like button is free. Let's get the likes to 100, everyone. It pushes us into the algorithm. I'm not asking for $20. I'm asking for likes and people to subscribe. And thank you. Let's continue so we can move on with the show. Let's get the likes over 100. Let's get the likes over 100. Double tap the screen, please. If you're watching from a phone or a tablet, it's easy to double tap that screen and hit the like. Let's continue.
Questions as fully
Thanks
as
for
I
liking.
could,
Thanks for subscribing.
based on what I knew, and what I knew is what I said in my statement this morning.
This is Hillary.
I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any connection or communication with him. It then got, at the end, quite unusual because I started being asked about UFOs.
Wow.
And a series of questions about Pizzagate. I thought it was very repetitive.
Wow.
I thought that they asked literally the same questions over and over again.
You know, Greg, I feel like if they ask the same questions over and over again, maybe that's because they weren't getting an answer.
Well, I love lawyers getting lawyered.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club. This is what you do to everybody. If you've ever been deposed or watched any of these hearings, you see that going around. I want full transparency, but at the same time, I'm skeptic of any high volume allegations, and I've been that way. I mentioned it before, the satanic preschool scare of the 1980s, where they said daycare centers were abusing children and with satanic rituals. That was an explosion. I was skeptical of the exponential rise of the non-binary identification and trans women, where it doubled and tripled and quadrupled in size. I was skeptical of the explosion of hate crimes. Many of them turned out to be hate crime hoaxes. I was skeptical of some of the Me Too accusations that turned out to be false, because when there is societal anxiety and media sensationalism plus flawed investigation, it's perfect turf for unstable people and motivating grifters. So you're going to have real stuff and you're going to have unreal stuff together. So it could be that, like, Bill Clinton is a sleazeball, probably. Did he take advantage of women? Probably. Did he take part in an international pedophile?
We're right now listening to Fox News. I can't confirm or deny. This is his opinion. So that's why we're listening. Let's continue. Fair use ration clip.
Ring. I'm not going to go there. The problem with the Epstein scandal, it's like a box of tangled up wires. Some of the wires are real, some aren't, but they're tangled up, and it may take forever to untangle them, but it's fun. It could go on forever untangling them, and there are people that get sustenance from this. But you just have to remember that if all those things that I mentioned you agreed with me on, you have to supply intellectual rigor to the evidence, because it seems like the media isn't.
You're not wrong.
Thank you, Joey.
I agree. Shannon, on that topic, are House Republicans kind of taking the bait a little bit, bringing in the Clintons as opposed to interviewing the interviewers and maybe investigating the investigation?
Yeah, I mean, they did a good job in getting documents from the Epstein estate that we hadn't seen before. So it seems like Oversight has kind of their own lane that they're trying to go down. They know the Clintons, it's going to get a lot of headlines. And it's a rare, interesting bipartisan thing to me that you don't see very much in Washington. Remember, there was this sweeping letter from the Clintons a few weeks ago, like, we're drawing the line in the sand. America stands for one thing, and that's freedom, and we will go no further, until Democrats on the panel also voted to hold them in contempt along with Republicans. They're like, okay, we're going to show up today. So there is some progress here. Whether Hillary was any kind of productive witness for them, I doubt. But, I think all of us who remember, I'm that old, when President Clinton stood there and said, I did not have sexual relations with that woman, we take a lot of what he says with a grain of salt. And I think, Greg's right. You got to look for evidence. And if you say, these are super old pictures, they predate this and that, there's nothing to it, then do you apply the...
And Hillary stayed. After that whole situation with Monica, Hillary stayed. It's interesting. Most of the whites do. You rarely see anyone that's high up past current president. The women stay. Interesting, right? Fair use reaction clip.
Same standard to President Trump. I mean, I think you just have to be consistent.
Jesse, if we're talking about consistency, he did stand in front of a camera or sit in front of a camera and say, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. That turned out to be pretty false. Today, CNN's reporting today, he said he did not have sex with a woman in the jacuzzi, and he doesn't know who she is.
A lot of question marks out there. Thank you.
Press 1, are you surprised that Hillary stayed? Press 2 if you're not surprised. She wanted his connections. She wanted to stay within. This has been a lot for Hillary. Are you guys surprised she stayed?
Very much, everybody. I'm Martha McCallum, and this is the story. So both Republicans and Democrats calling this a historic day. Former President Bill Clinton testifying before a congressional committee about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Just like Hillary Clinton's deposition yesterday, it is happening right near their home in Chappaqua, New York, outside of New York City at the Performing Arts Center, interestingly. So the former president shows up over and over again in the Epstein files, but he says that their, quote, brief acquaintance ended years before Epstein's crimes became public, telling the committee in his opening statement, I had no idea of the crimes Epstein was committing. No matter how many photos you show me, I know what I saw, and more importantly, what I didn't see. I know what I did, and more importantly, what I didn't do. I saw nothing, and I did nothing wrong, says former President Bill Clinton. House Oversight Chairman James Comer says,
if you're just not coming in, I'll go ahead and play this clip for you.
The other crimes Epstein was committing. No matter how many photos, I had no idea of the crimes Epstein was committing. No matter how many photos they showed me, I have two things that at the end of the day matter far more than any interpretation of 20-year-old photos. I know what I saw, and more importantly, what I didn't see. And I know what I did, and more importantly, what I didn't do. I saw nothing and did nothing wrong. As someone who grew up in a home with domestic violence, not only would I not have flown on his plane if I had any inkling of what he was doing, I would have turned him in myself and led the call for justice for his crimes, not the sweetheart deal we got. First, I had no idea of the crimes Epstein was committing. No matter how many photos they showed me, I have two things that at the end of the day matter far more than any interpretation of 20-year-old photos. I know what I saw, and more importantly, what I didn't see. And I know what I did, and more importantly, what I didn't do. I saw nothing and did nothing wrong. As someone who grew up in a home with domestic violence, not only would I not have flown on his plane if I had any inkling of what he was doing, I would have turned him in myself and led the call for justice for his crimes, not the sweetheart deal we got. First, I had no idea of the crimes Epstein was committing.
So when he got that sweetheart deal, I'm wondering who was the president. I'm trying to remember. When Epstein got that sweetheart deal, who was the president at that time? Because everybody's talking about the sweetheart deal, and I know what they talk about. He was able to basically come and go and then report back to the jail. Who does that? There's a lot of people that's breaking laws don't get that sweetheart deal. That in itself should have been questioning. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, playing that card. These politicians are something else. They're getting older. They're not leaving those seats. They're just doing the day-to-day menial, not doing much. There should be a cap in regards to who can be in office. If you're found liable, guilty, or if you're attached to, you should be able to be removed immediately. You should be impeached, removed from your job immediately. What's taking so long to remove these people from these positions if we find wrongdoing? Let's continue fair use reaction clip.
The committee is not accusing the Clintons of wrongdoing, but it was a long battle to get to this moment.
Are you researching dental implants?
Like the video. If you've already pressed subscribe, press 1. If you've already pressed subscribe, press 1. It takes 2 seconds to hit subscribe. Please hit subscribe. If you already hit subscribe, press 1. Press 1 if you already hit subscribe. Continue to hit the like. If you already hit subscribe, thank you. If you already hit the subscribe button, thank you. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
long battle to get to this moment. Watch.
It took 7 months to get the Clintons in here, but we've got them in here, and we look forward to asking lots of questions that I think any curious media outlet in America would have. Yesterday, Ms. Clinton deferred a lot of questions to her husband today.
Republicans have now set a new precedent, which is to bring in presidents and former presidents to testify. So we're once again going to make that call that we did yesterday. We are now asking and demanding that President Trump officially come in and testify in front of the Oversight Committee.
So Chief Congressional Correspondent Chad Pergram reporting live from Chappaqua, outside where all of this is happening.
Martha, good afternoon. Never before has a president undergone questioning at a deposition by a congressional committee under a subpoena. That changed this morning. Bill Clinton knew and traveled with Jeffrey Epstein. There is no allegation of wrongdoing by Bill Clinton, but Democrats say this is all a distraction from dealing with President Trump.
But let's be real, we're talking to the wrong president today. President Trump is the one who has not released 2.5 million files. President Trump is the one who is blocking our investigation. President Trump is the one who wants this to go away, but it will not go away.
Now, here is Bill Clinton's statement to the committee this morning. Even with 2020 hindsight, I saw nothing that ever gave me pause. We are only here because he hid it from everyone so well for so long. And by the time it came to light with his 2008 guilty plea, I had long stopped associating with him. Now, we're also learning.
Okay, so we're about to finish doing Hot Topics, Trending Topics. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the subscribe button. I need people to subscribe. I'm here on a Saturday. Okay, so it looks as if 50 Cent and Tyler Perry may be working together. 50 Cent has been going in on the Harrises, and then the Harrises have been bringing it. You've had King Harris talking about 50 Cent. You've had Damani talking about 50 Cent. You've had the baby girl even came in. It was talking about 50 Cent. So T.I. is trending in regards to his songs. King is trending in regards to his songs. Damani is really trending regarding his songs. So 50 Cent showed a picture of Tiny, which was not, favorable of her. And people have been going in. Everyone's talked about how 50 Cent likes to troll people. So he's in different projects right now. I'm wondering if he's going to chill out. And he's a part of a project with Eva Longoria. Look that up. I'm not going to talk about the other person. Like the video.
I don't see that, but what I do see? It's being exposed anyway, and this is why. When Trump had people stand up, this person's son died, this person's daughter died, this person's husband died, you can see they were just mortified in the soul. They were just crying. There's no happiness in their life. They were just ruined. And they're just standing up there like, yeah, the applause is great, but it's never going to bring that person back. Then cut to Erica, and she's like at a beauty pageant, acting and, it's just so obvious and so sickening. It's sickening. I know what I'm looking for.
Yeah, even though the man in the office likes Erica, we will see what happens in regards to that whole situation. People have been side-eyeing Erica for a while. Let's continue with the news. I can't confirm or deny she has something going on, but it is what it is. Unmasking the family, accused dad ex of financial elderly abuse. Oh wow, I'm just not seeing this. I can't confirm or deny. Y'all can see it, y'all can read it. He's a lot of people's favorite. So I'm surprised about that statement. Interesting. I'll save that. Like the videos y'all come in. Right now we're just doing rapid hot topics, trending topics. I'm not gonna show that picture. Like the video as you guys come in. Like the video as you guys come in. In regards to the Nancy Guthrie case, there's a lot going on. They moved Mia from her house in regards to being able to park in front of her house. Some people may now not film in front of the house. A lot of stuff has came out. Was it Wednesday, Thursday night? Someone was arrested in front of her house. Then it's being reported, go to Radar Online, allegedly, someone saw a woman screaming out of a vehicle. So, where's that video? They showed a white car nighttime 2 miles from the house. Why don't they show a car in her driveway? I don't. This whole court case, many day-to-day people are like, some stuff is not adding up. Some stuff is not making sense. What was her alarm system? Was the door locked? How did they get in? Why wasn't the alarm system and the security system, why didn't it notify the family that something was going on in her house? You know what I'm saying? So many people are side-eyeing this case, and they have a right to. How Savannah's speaking, when she does, when she gives her messages, people are like, what? What is she saying? Why is she saying that? Why is she saying that? Because there's stuff we don't know. There's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. But well wishes to Nancy for a safe return to her family. We're concerned. How does an 84-year-old woman live by herself and she doesn't have proper protective measures if somebody's trying to get at her? The area she lives in is extremely dark. Brian Anton was doing a live. It was so dark. You could barely see his face. Why would you have an ordinance and it's so dark? What kind of ordinance is that? People that live in that area should be on high alert because the sheriff, how they've handled the case, how the FBI has tried to help, tried to assist. Finally, I guess there's a ordinance, you can't hang up certain flyers, so they had to do the big old billboard. The billboard was weak too. But there's just a lot of stuff that don't make sense. A light ordinance, where was the alarm? Why didn't the alarm system notify the family that something was going on at her front door? Something was going on inside. This is just regular day-to-day questions. I've asked certain things and it's just like, it's not making no sense. The light above her porch, it didn't even seem like that was on. They stated that her Apple Watch was left at the home, so she might have been charging the phone, the Apple Watch. Was there not a life alert by her bed? Something. What was there to protect her as an 84-year-old woman living by herself? It's not making no sense. None. Prayers go out to Nancy for a safe return because the way Savannah's talking, there's $1 million reward. They got 1,500 tips after she announced the $1 million reward. Prayers for Nancy for a safe return to her family. I mean, everybody, if you have an older parent, make sure there's precautions. Alarm system, anybody's at the front door, you'll see it. Who was the one that got the message that somebody was at Nancy's front door? Did they leave that up to Nancy to control her cameras? I don't know. Like the video as y'all come in. Many people are saying cash, cash, cash. Look how scared he looked. I'm going to play it so y'all can hear what this guy said. I kind of like what he said.
I used to think bro was in on it, but now I think bro genuinely terrified. Y'all think Lethal Shooter understands it? Nah, Cash Patel understands it now. He understands how the U.S. government be moving. Bro's terrified.
I kind of agree. I think he knows more than he wants to say. I agree. I think he's terrified. Cardi B on stage. Bizarre twist. And the disappearance. Like we said, there was a man arrested outside her house. Now, I don't even think they've done a press conference in regards to the man being in front of her house. Who is he? Why was he arrested? I don't even think they've done a press conference regarding that. How they've handled it, so concerning. So concerning. I can't confirm or deny if she's still here or not here. I'm wishing for a safe return home to her family. She's 84. Why was she left by herself? Was no home care in the morning and in the afternoon? Okay. All right, y'all. Blueface is showing that he got injured. I don't know how, what, trigger warning. I don't know what happened to Blueface, but I remember him being in the car and something was going down his eye.
The United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days.
Like the video, like the video. We're going to play some more
Short time ago.
We're going to play some more news regarding that. Like the video as you guys come in.
The phone now, it sounds like.
Please hit subscribe. I hope that everyone has subscribed. I hope everyone has subscribed. You're just doing me a great favor to subscribe to the page. It's a Saturday morning. I really have stuff I have to do, but I had to bring you out this news and content. Please hit subscribe. Continue to get the likes up.
Ambassador, thank you for joining us. I want to read a little bit from the Omani Foreign Minister's statement from this morning. He says, "I am dismayed. Active and serious negotiations have yet again been undermined. I urge the United States not to get sucked in further. This is not your war." There were a lot of back and forth negotiations that sounded, at least what the Omani Foreign Minister told David Rode, that they were on the way to something here.
Thank you for liking.
My question for you is, were the negotiations just for show, and were we always going to end up on this day like this?
Well, from the reporting that's been done this morning, it sounds like this has been planned, this war, for some time. It is a war of choice, not of necessity. I'm not clear what the imminent threat to the United States is. Look, the Iran regime is odious and terrorizes its own people and the world. That said, there are plenty of odious governments around the world, and I don't know if President Trump expects to bring freedom to everyone. This is clearly not what the American voters voted for. President Trump is not the president I voted for, but nonetheless, the American people elected him on the idea that we would not do these war of choice, particularly in the Middle East. I think that negotiations were indeed possible, tough, difficult, takes time. You can't do it as a drive-by, which is how they were being done. And quite frankly, the concern this morning was, well, what happens to other things that we're trying to do in the world? Bring an end to Putin's horrific, illegal invasion of a sovereign country, Ukraine. What will happen to the Gaza plan to ensure that the Palestinian people have a future and Israel is secure? So there is a lot to unpack here, and it's sort of strange. If you go back, you see comments by Stephen Miller, J.D. Vance, even Secretary Rubio, that we should not be doing regime change, and that if indeed Kamala Harris had been elected, that's what would have happened. But here we are, President Trump, putting our men and women at great risk, our military and civilians all over the world.
Ambassador Wendy Sherman echoing the concerns that a lot of our other guests have had, which is the U.S. military being overstretched with our commitments around the world right now. Thanks for joining us. And joining us now is Nicholas Kristof, New York Times columnist and Pulitzer Prize-winning author, and Ayman Mohadeen, co-host of MS Now's The Weekend Primetime. Ayman, I want to start with you. You've been on air since we got here early this morning, and even before that. Can you talk a little bit about other expressions of support this administration could potentially make that don't involve shows of military might? David Rode told us first thing this morning that it was concerning that the internet blockage was occurring. He said it was down to, I believe, 4%. Yeah. How does any sort of opposition even come together in a situation like this, especially, as you noted in the break, when Trump himself is giving some contradictory advice?
Yeah, I mean, right now, there's very little information coming out of Iran that is not from the official state media, right? And so that puts the people of Iran, as well as people outside of Iran, into a bit of an information black hole, if you will. The President of the United States came out and said to the people of Iran, you will soon have your government. Go basically, more or less, once this operation is over, go claim your government. But doesn't offer a roadmap as to what that will look like. Certainly doesn't offer what resources are being made available to those inside of Iran who may be sympathetic to this military operation. And there are a lot of people who are anti-regime inside Iran who would love to see this regime collapse. But there is, at this moment, no clear plan or plan of action for what the president specifically spelled out. The other major concern in all of this is the humanitarian situation. We're getting some troubling reports right now coming out from Iran. And it's very difficult to verify this. It's very difficult to get a sense of the casualty figures and what has or what has not been.
Good morning. Good morning.
I've spoken to multiple Arab officials in the region who some have relations with Iran, have a diplomatic presence. They're able to get some information out. And what they're describing now is a lot of fear and a lot of apprehension, a lot of uncertainty, but also some very disappointed with the lack of U.S. support for some of these Gulf countries. And in some ways, this is going to be a race against time because as we've now seen, countries like the UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain have all been subject to these missile attacks. The U.S. had provided them interceptor missiles to be able to shoot some of these down. The question is going to be how quickly can the U.S. replenish them versus how many more Iran can continue to lob into the region, because that is basically the race against time that we're facing here. Can the U.S. sustain this support for these Arab countries with interceptor missiles and defensive capabilities versus how long the Iranian regime, which seems to still be in place, able to launch this counterattack?
At Gardner White, we believe in movie nights.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. Like the video as you guys come in. Thanks for being here. Let's continue.
Bring you in here because when you look at the speed at which this feels like it escalated, for all of us, it seemed very obvious that the president was going to do this. But the president said on Tuesday a few sentences about Iran. And so when you look at an administration that doesn't feel like it needs to make a case to the American people, to the world publicly, about why something like this would need to take place. There were conversations, it sounds like, with some folks on the Gang of Eight, so there was some coordination as the attacks were just about to happen. But the lack of explaining to the American people what this is actually going to look like moving forward, is that an issue or no?
Well, I think it is. But I think that they not only had trouble explaining to the world what they were doing, I think they frankly had some trouble explaining to themselves. I saw this described as an armada without a strategy. And I think there is something to that. And I guess I also worry that President Trump and his aides had too sunny a view of how Iran may respond. I think they saw the killing of Qasem Soleimani in 2020, and Iran did not respond as much as many people had suggested. Then last year, after the war, Iran again did not respond as forcefully as many had expected. And so I think that they think, well, we can do this, as we did in Venezuela. And I look at their aims of regime change, and I note that they couldn't even topple the Houthi regime in Yemen after spending $7 billion. That was both Joe Biden and Donald Trump with an air war. And so, look, I've traveled through Iran, reported there a number of times, and the regime there is unpopular. But the idea that people are going to turn out in the streets and overthrow Ayatollah Khamenei, I'm skeptical. And meanwhile, of course, we have enormous risks to the 40,000 troops in the region, to other countries there, the risk of terror attacks, the risk of the Strait of Hormuz being either closed or traffic limited. I just see this great disjunction between the aims and the probability that it will succeed and the risks to Americans and others.
Amy, let's pick up on what Nicholas was just talking about. One line he just said that jumped out at me in terms of characterizing the Trump administration. We can do this. Yeah. But can the U.S. do this alone?
I'm just looking at this statement here from the leaders of France, Germany, and the United Kingdom on what's happened. I'm just going to read this one line, second paragraph. We did not participate in these strikes, but are in close contact with our international partners, including the United States, Israel, and partners in the region. We reiterate our commitment to regional stability and to the protection of civilian life. Just my reading of that, it seems to be that the Europeans, those leaders, are keeping the United States at arm's length distance. And there's no real, they're committed to regional stability, but it doesn't sound like they're committed to doing that with the United States. Can what the United States and Israel, what they're doing right now in the strikes in Iran, can they succeed without the quote unquote Western alliance?
The short answer to that is highly unlikely, and it really depends on what this is in all of this, right? Because if you're talking about simply collapsing the Iranian regime, what we learned in 2003 from the Iraq War was that the United States militarily, which has by far superior capabilities, can destroy a regime that is in place in any country. But if they don't have a mechanism to replace the state apparatus that it is about to collapse with some kind of governing structure to control 90 million people, you are going to see what happened in Iraq tenfold in Iran. This is a country that is 90 million people made up of all kinds of ethnicities, all kinds of competing centers and factions within that country. It has been held in place by this oppressive regime, which has oppressed opposition, what have you. But in order to be able to chart a path forward after the war, if indeed this war is, as the United States says, will be successful in a couple of days or perhaps even a couple of weeks, the question then becomes, how do you maintain the territorial integrity? How do you maintain a governing structure in Iran? And the United States cannot do that without either having a strong opposition presence on the ground, or having the support of the international community that will say, these are the types of things that we want to put in place to help the Iranian people get back up and running on their feet, whether it is government, services, what have you. Right now, none of the people that I've spoken to who were anticipating this war, saying like with the presence, this was something that was on their mind, none of them have been consulted about what this is going to look like the day after. None of them have been asked, what do you anticipate happening if we were to collapse this regime? You're going to potentially see the overflow of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of Iranians into countries nearby. Afghanistan and Pakistan are basically now in a full-blown war. Right. So you now have a very volatile region, and the United States has just embarked on this military war in a very combustible part of the world.
And we're talking about a regime, an oppressive regime that's been in place since the Iranian Revolution of 1979. Right. Ayman Mohyeldin, Nicholas Kristof, thank you both very much.
Please hit subscribe. Let's continue with the news. Please hit subscribe. Thanks for being here, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It takes a few seconds just to hit subscribe. Continue to get the likes up. Let's continue.
In New York, and we are interrupting regular programming with the latest developments on the situation in the Middle East. Here's what we know so far at this hour. President Trump overnight announcing major combat operations against Iran called Operation Epic Fury. The operation, a joint U.S. and Israeli attack said to be targeting Iranian government and military sites. Iran is reporting civilian casualties, including dozens at an elementary school. U.S. military officials say they are looking into those reports. American officials say the operation could last for days. The IDF now saying U.S. and Israeli forces launched hundreds of strikes, and they say several senior leaders were eliminated. President Trump warning that there could be U.S. casualties as well. A U.S. official tells ABC News that American forces have intercepted multiple Iranian missiles targeting bases and allies in the region. That includes Jordan, Bahrain, Kuwait, UAE, and
like the video, like the video.
We're monitoring all of this. You can see some of the early videos coming in, smoke rising we've seen in Tehran, the capital of Iran. And overnight, President Trump speaking about the operation. Here's what he had to say.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels in international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our citizens hostage. It was brutal, something like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again, they can never have a nuclear weapon. That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades. They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore. Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland. Just imagine how emboldened this regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message. For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear weapon. This regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength and might of the United States Armed Forces. I built and rebuilt our military in my first administration, and there is no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication. My administration has taken every possible step to minimize the risk to U.S. personnel in the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement lightly, the Iranian seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran. We ask God to protect all of our heroes in harm's way, and we trust that, with his help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail. We have the greatest in the world, and they will prevail. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or in the alternative, face certain death. So, lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death. Finally, to the great proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass. May God bless the brave men and women of America's armed forces. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless you all. Thank you.
President Trump right there in the early morning hours making the case to justify this military action in Iran, talking about the potential for U.S. casualties as a result of this, calling this a war, also calling on the Iranian people to rise up, saying when we are finished, take over your government, it will be yours to take. The president also talking about the reasons for going into this, calling it an imminent threat, although not presenting any specific evidence. We are getting some other reports from multiple sources who tell ABC News that the attacks also targeted Iran's leadership, including the president and supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei.
My hunt to find the perfect man.
Like the video. There's about 114 in the building. Please hit subscribe. Please support the page by hitting subscribe. And continue to get the likes up. To subscribe is free. To hit the like button is free. Let's continue. Thank you for being here, everyone.
To the ground and exploding in Doha, the capital of Qatar. It's part of the retaliation from Iran after the U.S. and Israel launched a massive and ongoing military campaign across Iran. U.S. embassies across the region are now telling
Be
Americans
respectful in the
to shelter
comments.
in
Don't
place.
be weird.
The State Department is now urging all U.S. citizens in Lebanon to get out while commercial options are still available. Let's go live right now to CNN's Paula Hancock, who's joining us from Abu Dhabi. Paula, you and your teams are hearing new explosions where you are all the time, right?
Yes, Wolf, there was another wave of incoming missiles, or at least we heard the blasts of what we assume to be the by the defense here in the UAE. This has been happening for hours now, so we're certainly seeing no let-up in the retaliation from Iran. We've heard from the Ministry of Defense here in Abu Dhabi saying that they have been intercepting missiles. They also person has been killed by falling debris after an interception. We've seen images of smoke near the Al Dhafra base here in Abu Dhabi as well, so potentially not all of those missiles were intercepted, but we're certainly seeing no let-up in this retaliation. We've seen it as well in Doha, in Qatar. They just recently had another wave of incoming missiles. Officials there saying that they are intercepting them as they come in. There are shelter-in-place orders across the Gulf nations. Airspace has been closed, we know, in Bahrain, where where the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet is based, that they have been targeted as well. And the same in Kuwait. We have heard reports in Jordan as well. There is anger as well as concern amongst these Gulf nations that they have become targets themselves. Many of them had said to the United States they were unable to use their bases if they were going to strike Iran. They had said that their airspace must not be used as well, as they wanted to put some distance between themselves and what the US president was ultimately going to decide to do. We've heard statements, for example, from Saudi Arabia saying that they give the strongest condemnation of this blatant and cowardly Iranian attacks, also pointing out that there have been incoming into Riyadh and the eastern province. Qatar has called it a flagrant violation of its national sovereignty. The UAE condemning and denouncing this as well in the strongest terms, the blatant Iranian missile attacks. So there is concern in these Gulf nations who are unaccustomed to this level of intense missile attack. But there is also anger that they have found themselves on the receiving end of this as well. Remember back in June when the US and Israel carried out those strikes on the nuclear facilities in Iran, it was Qatar only that was targeted, and that one was fairly restrained. That is not the case now.
Do you think this is dramatically in the next few days and maybe next few weeks going to dramatically escalate this war?
I think it has the potential of doing so, Wolf. And what you're seeing is a very large Iranian response. And I think it's going to be interesting to get the military assessment from places like CENTCOM to see if they had anticipated this kind of a reaction from the Iranians. They clearly anticipated some of that by evacuating some troops from some of these bases that you've mentioned in the Persian Gulf region. But I don't know if they've really anticipated the magnitude of this, because it looks like we're looking at several hundred, if not a series of 1,000 drones heading toward Israel and potentially other targets as well. And if you could add that, couple that with missiles that the Iranians still have, it could be a fairly substantial response. The question then would be, though, what kind of follow-up will the Iranians have?
How effective is that Iron Dome anti-missile system that Israel has over the whole country in dealing with a lot of drones coming in from Iran?
This is what the Iranians are trying to do, Wolf. The Iron Dome system was not built for drones. It does have some modifications that have been made to it to work on the drone problem. But the problem is that with a swarm of drones, it's going to overwhelm most radars that are associated with the Iron Dome. And that's why not only do they have the Iron Dome, but the other elements of the Israeli air and missile defense systems like the Arrow system and David Sling, but also the Aegis systems that the U.S. Navy brings in. And those are sitting off the coast of Israel right now, and they are supposed to help with this. Let's see how effective they are this time. They were highly effective in June. Let's see how effective they are now.
This is how you can uncover all the secrets of your family that no one ever told you. There is a platform where you can search billions of historical records, uncovering hidden stories.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip.
Highly effective in June. Let's see how effective they are now.
Joining me now is CNN national security analyst Alex Plitzis. Alex, let's start right where Wolf left off. Explosions over Bahrain. The Iranians hit the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet Service Center. Explosions over UAE, both Dubai and Abu Dhabi, over Jordan, Kuwait, other states there in the region. Just put into context the scope of the response from the Iranians and what you glean from how they've responded and how quickly.
So it's clear that they were prepared for counterstrikes to a certain extent, given that they reacted fairly quickly in the middle of the night to the strike. In the 12-day war, they took a little bit of time to respond as they regained command and control and determined what assets that they had left. And they took 5 days to respond after Qasem Soleimani was assassinated. So this is clear that there have been some pre-planning that was done. And as you mentioned, the countries that were attacked here specifically are where we have specific bases. So in Kuwait, we have Ali Al Salim Air Force Base. In the UAE, we have Al Dhafra Air Base, about 20 miles south of Abu Dhabi. In Bahrain, we have the Fifth Fleet that's based out of there. In Doha, we happen to have nearby Al Udeid Air Force Base. Is not only the Air Force Base, but also the forward headquarters for U.S. Central Command. So all of those locations are strategic U.S. military bases in the region.
I'm joined now by Daniel Shapiro. He's the former U.S. ambassador to Israel. Ambassador Shapiro, thanks so much for joining us. I understand you are now in a shelter in Tel Aviv. What caused you and your associates to go to the shelter? What happened?
Thanks for having me, Wolf. So early this morning, for the first time, a siren sounded, and where I was staying, we all rushed to a shelter. That's now happened about 7 or 8 times today here in central Israel. The last one, which just occurred a few moments ago, was followed by a series of boom, which is an interception of an incoming missile. And earlier in the day, we heard one or two of such booms. But in the last round, we heard over 24. So it seems that the Iranians have changed their tactics as the day has gone on, from individual or small numbers of missile attacks to at least the last one being a larger salvo, which they've used in the past to try to saturate and penetrate Israeli air defenses.
Do you get a sense that the Iranians in their missile attacks, their drone attacks, are going after specific Israeli military targets, or just launching them to kill people and destroy as much as possible?
It's impossible for me to know from the places I've been able to be today exactly what they're targeting. In the past, they have put a lot of emphasis on military targets, intelligence targets, but some civilian targets. There are still buildings destroyed in central Tel Aviv from the war last June. So, and because Israel is a small country and a lot of civilian population lives alongside various other installations, and these missiles are not that accurate, it's entirely possible that they could shoot for a security target and hit an apartment building or a neighborhood. So they're probably going to cause as much damage as they can, given the pressure they're under from combined U.S. and Israeli strikes that the president announced this morning.
Clearly a lot of targets for the Iranians in the Tel Aviv area, and good luck over there. Just stay safe. What do you think regime change in Iran potentially could look like? Do you see a clear path to who might actually take over if there is regime?
Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the subscribe button. We've been live for an hour and 20 minutes. I hope all 115 have hit subscribe. If you hit subscribe, please press 1. If you hit subscribe, please press 1. Continue to get the likes up, everyone. The likes should match the views. Please hit the like button. Let's get over 100 likes. I need 50 people to double tap that screen to hit the like button. If you're watching from a phone or a tablet, YouTube makes it easy. All you have to do is double tap the screen.
Change.
I think this is one of the big question marks hanging over what the president announced last night. First of all, I think many Americans probably woke up this morning surprised to discover that we're at war in the Middle East, something the president said he was going to try to avoid. And he really didn't do very much to prepare the public or discuss with the public what his strategy was, what the goal is, why it was imminent, and why it was necessary to take this action now. He mentioned what we know very well about this terrible Iranian regime. It's a nuclear program, ballistic missile program, it's abuse of its own people, and its sponsorship of terrorism. But why now? And it was surprising to me that he laid the predicate that the goal of this is regime change, because that is not something that can be done just by airstrikes. What he said, and he's probably right about this, is that only the Iranian people on the ground are going to be able to overthrow the regime and replace it with something else. But replace it with what? Most intelligence experts who you consult with suggest the most likely near-term replacement for the current regime is a military dictatorship under the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. Beyond that, it's a big question mark whether there is a sufficiently consolidated opposition, done peacefully or democratically, whether different splinter groups, ethnic or regional splinter groups, might try to break away from the main state. So it could be a very chaotic situation, even if the president's goal of regime change is successful.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged, in our opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. We've been live for an hour and 22 minutes. Please hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 50K, you guys. I pray people have hit subscribe, because I'm a hate to have to change how I do things. To move forward, I got to get 100 people to subscribe. To move forward, I got to get 100 likes. I always try and give you guys the content, but to hit the subscribe is free. To hit the like button is free. I bring you out the news, and I have a busy schedule. So I hope everyone has hit subscribe. There's about 81 people in the building. There's about 76 people in the building. So if everyone subscribed, that'll be an amazing day. 76 people hitting subscribe. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe. Goodbye.